Welcome everybody. So I have another sword review coming to you. A sword sent to me from RVA Katana via CLOUDHAMMER for a sample review. This is going to be a little bit of a different type of review. I'm going to show you some detailed images and talk about the sword and the state of the sword and what I think about this sword, because from what I understand, this sword already has a buyer in line ready to purchase it. So I didn't want to do anything that would tarnish the blade or the sword in any way. As a disclosure guys, this sword was sent to me as a review sample. I did not buy it with my own money, so if you feel this makes me biased or unbiased, that's for you to decide, but I will try to give you my honest assessment of the fit and finish, the state of the blade, and the quality of the materials put onto this sword. So let's take a look at this sword from CLOUDHAMMER Steelworks. Okay, so first thing you guys are seeing here is a pretty nice contoured and painted Sire, which is I'm pretty much used to seeing with CLOUDHAMMER. There is some ripples. If you really look at it, there are some ripples in the paint, but for the most part it's a very nice thick coat, nice varnish, nice paint job. It's black with like white speckles on it. Very attractive looking Sire. But what you notice also about this side, it's a little different than standard katana, is the fact that it's more of a tachi style, where it's profiled and it's tapered on each side of the Sire from one end to the other. Now some might say that this makes this Sire a little less durable, especially to hard practitioners, because they feel that with less wood on it, it can break. But aesthetically, it is a very nice looking Sire, so it's for you to decide if this type of Sire is good for you, depending on your purposes. But I do like the contours and how it fits. There's a little rumble in the blade as far as in the Sire, but for the most part, it's a pretty good fit. The ska, or the handle, is around 10 3/8. It's a little less than 10 and a half, so it's a little bit on the short side for me, but still pretty good real estate for you to get both hands on it with no problem at all. As always with all this, with a lot of swords I review from them, it's got a really nice jacket quality leather, very tight. From what I understand, this sword, Ito was wrapped with Hishigami, so it makes it extremely tight, very stable. You can barely move the diamonds in a millimeter, and the diamonds are fairly even. Really nice execution, beautiful quality Samigawa underneath. It's glimmering in the light. I've always been pretty happy with the ska. It's a straight angled ska. There's not really any Rico shape, but it still fits very contoured and very comfortable in the hand, and extremely tight, which is always something you like to see on high quality swords or swords at a certain price range. So let's talk about the finishing pieces and how they chose to finish up the aesthetics of this sword. I'm pretty happy. I'm very happy actually with how aesthetically everything matches on the sword. It's a really beautifully put together sword. Looking at the kashira here, or the pommel, really nice execution on it. The details are pretty good. I don't know if I saw some like wolves or something like that there, but they call this like a wave theme type of katana. But you can see the transitions are done pretty well. Some very faint lenges for the most part, but it is very tight. The knot is very tight compared to the last sword that I reviewed, so a big improvement there. And if you look around at the kashira, you can see some you can make out some nice details, some nice lines. It's on borderline of muddy, but definitely not. These are pretty much one of the better pieces I've seen from CLOUDHAMMER thus far. Plain, simple, and detailed. That's what I like to see. And the transitions between the kashira and the Ito, there's nothing alarming as far as like over embellished edges or ledges or anything like that. It's just clean fit, tight fitting, and it transitions are pretty well done. Generally something that you would like to see on a sword within a $700 price point. Manuki's pretty nice. I can't really make out exactly what it is. It has something to do with the wave theme, but you can see details in the lines. It sits really nicely underneath the Ito, doesn't disturb your hand at all. It's great execution, doesn't move at all, doesn't budge, and it looks great. And again, matches the whole aesthetic of the sword really nicely. So here's the fuchi, or the collar ring, on the ska or the suka. The transitions are a big improvement from their first generation of swords they sent me. There's a little bit of a lip on the face of it, but nothing to the point where it's alarming or it's disturbing or it's going to bite into your hand. But the transitions from the side is really well done. As far as the transition between the Ito, and the fuchi is pretty good. But there's something actually I did notice while I was doing this review, is the fact that there is a little bit of a wood core showing on one side of the sword with the on the fuchi, which is something that honestly I wish they would address on their swords, because you definitely don't want to see any wood core showing on the ska underneath the Ito. The Tsuba, or the guard of the sword, very pretty. This is pretty much the type of Tsuba I like to see. It's about circumference. It has a circumference of about 2 7/8. You can see some nice details on it. It's I like something that's less muddy, and more detailed, simpler in design. And that's pretty much what I'm seeing here. It's probably one of the nicest Tsubas I've seen from CLOUDHAMMER. And it looks pretty good, smooth in the hands, no sharp edges or anything like that. I just really like the overall look of it and how it fits with the whole theme of the sword. The Sageo, good quality Sageo. I mean, it's pretty much the standard. I mean, it's a good quality Sageo. It's definitely would serve a practitioner well. Nice painted Korogata. Damn shitadomes are not glued in or fastened in, but that's always my pet peeve and my complaint. But a nice presentation, really nice painted Korogata, and a good quality Sageo string, or Sageo rope rather. Simple thumb push is pretty much all you need to break the lock of the friction lock of the sword from the Sire, which is pretty much how it's supposed to be. It locks into place. The friction holds into place as you shake it up and down. It fits very, very well into the sword, into the Sire. As far as unsheathing it, there is noted to be a little bit of binding. It doesn't, glide out like it's on rails, but definitely a lot better than I've seen on a lot of other cheaper swords. But for the most part, it's got a pretty good fit. Could it be better? Of course, it could be better. You don't want to see any binding, especially if you're a practitioner that's going to be using it and using Noto over and over and over again. It's going to basically cut into the Sire a little bit, but for the most part, I would say, in terms of fit and finish, from a 0 to 10, I would probably give it around a good solid 7. That's pretty satisfactory, I would say, because a lot of swords out there don't have a good glide of the blade into the Sire. The sword comes in at a weight of around 2 pounds 4 ounces. It's not a heavy sword, it's not a light sword, it's somewhere pretty much in the middle. But for the most part, balanced, very balanced. Always have control of the tip, have control of basically moving, changing directions. It feels really, really good in the hands. Pretty much a testament to what I've seen on most CLOUDHAMMER swords, that they have a little bit of weight to them, and if they do, they still execute a very well balanced sword, and it just feels good in the hands. It feels good to hold it, it feels good to swing it, it feels good to start and stop. I'm pretty happy with how balanced and how good this sword feels in the hand. Koiguchi, nicely shaped. Not fantastic, nicely shaped. I think if they improve the carve out of the Koiguchi mount of the Sire, it'll fit the Habaki a lot better, and it'll just overall just make the sword glide in and out of the Sire a lot more smoothly. Not your typical brass Habaki, a really nice silver polished Habaki and silver seppas that fits the whole black and silver theme of the sword. As always, my pet peeve is just not having the Habaki fit perfectly onto the blade or hog the blade a lot better, and that's just going to help. It's not just for aesthetic reasons. If you eliminate that annoying space in between the blade and the Habaki, it'll just promote a perfect glide of the sword into the Sire. But other than that, I do love the look of this. I do love the fact that they did something different, and they've matched all the aesthetics of the sword with this black and silver and in this really nice polished silver Habaki. Alright guys, let's talk about the blade. The blade comes in at around 27¼ inches. It's got a multi-haba, or a width of the blade at the Habaki, at about a 1¼ inch. It tapers down to 13/16 of an inch. It has a 7.6 millimeter Munet thickness of the spine, and it tapers down up the sword to a really well-defined point. The SX105v, according to CLOUDHAMMER, is a Japanese-made tool steel. It's got an HRC of about 60 to 61, it's differentially hardened, and it's got a flex limit of 20 to 25 degrees, which is pretty damn good. According to Steel Data Info, I looked up this steel. It is a material that is especially good for cutting edges with very good edge retention. It's got a hardness that surpasses S5, but not as durable. If I had to put this in the classification in terms of steel, I would say this sword is probably better than a T10 tool steel. It's got a good bend degree angle, and look at that Koji Hamon, guys. The Koji Hamon is probably one of my favorite styles of Hamon. This is one of their higher end, well polished blades. It's got a 3-tone polish, really nice, beautiful looking polish on this blade. Love the well defined Koji Hamon. There are some grinding lines. I mean, it's not perfect. There are some grinding lines as you see some close-ups on the lens, but for the most part, it is a really well-detailed, prominent Koji Hamon, 3-tone polish, well-shaped Shinogi Sakuri, really nice Boshi, nice, pretty well-defined Yokote line. It's just a beautiful looking blade, and it's something you would want to see in a higher price or higher end or premium quality sword, is to have this type of blade on it. And I really like what I'm seeing from this blade, and I would imagine it would be a very good cutter, giving its properties of the steel, differentially hardened, and everything that comes along with it. Nice job on the blade, guys. Alright, so if you guys are still hanging around till this far, thank you, first of all. But to sum it all up, this is, for me, a very aesthetically beautiful looking sword. The whole black and silver theme, the Koji Hamon, the beautiful steel, the beautiful polish, the very well made Sire, the shaped, thin, tapered out Sire, the tight Suka. It's just a really nice looking sword for me. Aside from the slight binding of the sword into the Sire, it does glide in pretty well, and it's going to serve a practitioner very well. And if it's something that you're getting just for aesthetic reasons, I think it looks great. And if you like the steel and you want to put your own fittings on it and make your own magic, I'm sure you can do that as well. Just contact RVA Katana, contact John, and he'll take care of all the rest. I've had a great time with this sword, guys. It's a beautiful looking sword. I was very happy to review it, very happy to get my hands on it. This sword is going to go into somebody else's hands pretty soon, and it's going to make them very happy. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Joe from JS Bladecraft, and I hope you enjoyed another CLOUDHAMMER Steelworks Katana. Till the next sword and knife review, guys, I'll see you when I see you. Love and respect to each and every one of you. Ciao.